me just start out by saying this. I am new to this franchise. So if you at all do not like my opinion on these movies, it's because I have some extreme hot takes with this franchise. Film in particular is really going to be riding on that train. So in terms of him thinking I have a terrible ranking, but I am now doing a tier list for the Fast and the Furious tiers in Fast and Furious movies. So as you can see here, they are in random order. So we are going to now kick it off with the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. Ugh. Stalled. The tiers we have here are Ride or Die, Turn on the NOS, In the Race, Missed the Start, and Stalled. Tokyo Drift is my least favorite of all of these movies by far. Well, actually, no, not by far. There's another one that I also really do not enjoy. But we'll get to that one soon. So I just don't like it. I think it's bad. I think it's a movie where I find the main lead extremely unlikable in this. He's not very smart. Han is the best part about the movie, and which is embarrassing because he's not one of the lead characters. So, well, I mean, he is kind of, but he's killed off halfway through. And the only special scene that actually really stands out is that we get a cameo from Dom in this movie, and that's pathetic. The best part about your movie is that there's a cameo for a main character at the end that is extremely pathetic. So I just don't like it. I just think it's bad. It's not good. So I'm just not a fan of this. So I'm just going to try and forget it. It also feels very pointless now because very few of these movies are acknowledging it. A few of them do, but still. Now we have Fast 5, Ride or Die. Yeah, this is a great movie. And depending on if we have any others later, it's not going to be top for at least actually, I'm not going to say a long time, but this is definitely in my top 3 favorite Fast and Furious movies. I think this movie is awesome. It feels like it finally managed to put that borderline in where it's starting to get a bit more over the top, but it at least still has most of that grounded feel. So you can at least partially feel that it's not like going full on insanity like the Fate of the Furious. Actually, no, Furious 7 Onward Go, where they just go full on insanity. So I have a lot of fun with this one. It feels grounded. It feels like it's a much more fun movie where and Dwayne Johnson. No wonder this movie got so fast. This guy really is it any surprise that the highest grossing Fast and Furious movies have Dwayne Johnson in it, because he is a box office record success. He is he immediately gets people in the seats. He gets their butts in the seats, and there's no doubt why. It is a great movie, so I am happy having it in Ride or Die. Now we have Fast and Furious 4, or Fast and Furious. Calling it Fast and Furious is an extremely stupid name. I think I will go In the Race. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah. In the Race. I have fun with this one. It's I think it just feels more grounded to me. Meanwhile, if you take a look at things like Rambo, First Blood Part 2, Rambo 3, Too Fast, Too Furious, those types of movies where it takes like a much more like serious type film and goes very over the top and cheesy with it, I normally do not really enjoy the film very much. Well, no, Rambo First Blood Part 2 and Rambo 3 I enjoy, but I think they usually go defaulted to the bottom. Meanwhile, things like Fast and Furious and Rambo Last Blood and John Rambo are my favorite. I have higher than those movies, mostly because I'm more of the fan of the grounded take on them. So I think it's much better when they're a bit more grounded. So I think this one's grounded. It's a bit more on the slow side. It's a bit boring at times, but I think getting Brian O'Connor in here was great because I really wanted to see him. So getting Brian and Dom back together is great. So it was really good having them together. So I enjoyed this movie more than average because I know this is the fan favorite for probably the worst of them, especially for Rotten Tomatoes. It is the worst on Rotten Tomatoes. So okay, yeah, I have found this one a bit underrated. Now we have Furious 7, Ride or Die, and it's going at the top. Hot take, prefer this to Fast 5. Like I said, I have some enormous hot takes in the Fast and Furious franchise, mostly because I am new to the Fast and Furious franchise, but part of the reason I just love Furious 7 is that amazing tribute to Paul Walker at the end. That is a fantastic tribute to the character. Start tearing up every time I think about it. Oh, just such a beautiful send off. Yeah, that's awesome. I absolutely adore this movie. I think it's fantastic. It's 4.5 out of 5 for me. I know a lot of people are about to be getting on to me for that one. So I think that this is a great ride. It has thrills. It's a bit more over the top, but I'm still fine with that. I love me some over the top action at times. I just have to be in the right mood for it. And the Fast and Furious franchise is like that type of guilty pleasure franchise. So it's not the best franchise or the healthiest, but it is a really fun type of franchise for me that I do enjoy quite a bit, even though there are a few stinkers in there. But I don't. Okay, now we have the Fate of the Furious Fight Me Film Kid, which I'm sure you're wanting to do. Turned on the NOS. I'm putting this one up. This is high. This is top 5 for me. I know Film Kid's incredibly infuriated right now. He's probably already disliked the video. Sorry. Just saying, I'm new to this franchise, but even then, I have no idea why people hate on this movie so much. It's so fun with the way it's just great. I think Dom being the villain it's actually explained pretty well because he's being blackmailed, so that's actually a pretty good excuse. And Hobbs and Shaw's banter in this is one of the reasons he gets to turn on the NOS. Their banter is gold. They have so many great arguments. Is it any doubt they got their own spin-off, Hobbs and Shaw? That is so funny. And I think that's one of the reasons that Hobbs and Shaw, spoiler alert, is one of my favorites in the franchise. So, just saying, getting this movie that gave us that, it just really, I have this movie to thank for that. So I owe it a bit. We're all in debt. We're all indebted to it. Even if Film Kid, you hate the Fate of the Furious, you still owe it for giving you Hobbs and Shaw. So I do admit that, because if you take a look at Furious 7, they would not have gotten their own spin-off then. They needed Fate of the Furious where they start to bicker a lot. They start to bicker a lot in that one. So, and then carries on into the spin-off. But I think that the actions are like full on insanity. This was like where they just like threw out the book and they were just going for like the biggest, most awesome action possible. They did not care anymore about like their grounded franchise. So I do have a lot of fun with this one. It's probably the most rewatchable to me. So I am happy and turned on the NOS, and I'm ready to fight all of you that say it's a terrible movie. In which I'm pretty sure Film Kid's going to be the only one that's going to be as like personally offended as most people are not going to be as personally offended as Film Kid will be about that. But anyway, now we have Fast and Furious 6, and we got our 2 film in a row where Film Kid's getting really personally offended because now turned on the NOS instead of Ride or Die for Film Kids. Sorry, buddy, but I'm putting it at the back. I prefer the Fate of the Furious to Fast and Furious 6. Yeah, I'm probably in a lot of trouble with them for now. Yeah, so I am sorry. I think it starts to get a bit more boring. This one is a bit more on the boring side at times. I think it's fun, and I just think that like when they start like trying to get certain things, like it starts to lose steam a bit. And also like that scene where when Dom ejects himself to go and catch Letty. I am sorry. That is a terrible scene. We both know when he ejects himself out, manages to fly across a bridge, grab her, and then he breaks her fall using his back. His back would have been broken, and she probably would have been killed as well. They both would have been killed in that. That they would not have survived that. I think it starts the straining a bit more credibility. Like it has moments, especially with that 100,000-mile long runway that seems to never end in the third act, which is just so weird that it never ends. But I do think that there's enjoyable elements in it, and I thought that the extra scene is awesome. Getting to see Shaw coming in, Dominic Toretto. That is such an amazing scene, and which teased us that Jason Statham is now going to be in this franchise, which is awesome. He is top. Yeah, I think he's. No, I have a top 4 that are my favorites with Hobbs, Shaw, Dom, and Brian. Those are easily my 4 favorites by far. They are just so awesome together. So I think that this is definitely a really entertaining one. But if I'm measuring it up against some of the others, I prefer some of the others. Just again, I'm going to say this. I'm going to be repeating this a lot. New to the franchise here. So I'm just going to say, if I sound like I have a ranking that's odd, It's because I'm new to this franchise. Okay, let's put that behind us. Now we have Hobbs and Shaw. Okay, ride or die. Yep. And I'm going over Fast Five. Again, I am new to this franchise. Fast Five's the fan favorite, but still. Hobbs and Shaw. Okay, sorry about the little cut there, but like I was saying, that this is Fast Five's the fan favorite, but it starts to lose steam at certain points, and like the first half is a bit more slow than the second half. So I think Hobbs and Shaw is so funny, and the arguments between Shaw and Hobbs are absolute gold in this movie. They are so funny. Like they are just pelting insults at each other the entire runtime. It is hilarious watching some of the most immature remarks you can give to people, and it's hilarious. And like especially one that comes in like one of the post credit scenes involving what Hobbs does to Shaw and what he tells the officers to name him. That if you've seen the extra scene there, that is so funny. I was like, oh wow, they really went for it. It is so funny. I think that it has one of the best casts in the franchise, which believe me is a tall order because these movies, Tokyo Drift and like Too Fast, Too Furious, and like the fourth one. The first few don't really have that stacked of a cast. 5 and onward, they are stacked. So this has probably the best of all the cast. So it is a great film that I absolutely find so entertaining. It's probably the most entertaining of all of them. I just think Furious 7's better in my opinion. So I absolutely adore this one. This one is so funny. And now we have F9. I'll go Missed the Start. I will give this film a pass, but I'm going to say if we were measuring it is definitely not. I think I'm a bit more nice to it, but it's definitely this is where like they completely like Fate the Furious is like when they were just like, okay, no more. Let's just go full on insanity. F9 is somehow even more insanity filled. Like they go to space. They go to space. I can't believe they actually went to space. A film that starts with street racing, and now they're going to space, which is so odd and extremely unlikely they could actually go to space like that. Extremely unlikely. So it still really is starting to strain its credibility, and this is not John Cena. This is a grumpy guy that is played by John Cena, which we will talk about when we get to Fast X, about John Cena's character, which I will bring up. So I think that this is a Miss the Start movie. I would give it a pass, but I'm going to say it probably needs to be in the Miss the Start. Now we have Too Fast, Too Furious. Stalled. But I'm going to go ahead of Tokyo Drift because I think that Tokyo Drift is worse. So it's going to be at the back. If it's at the back, from now on, it means that it's the worst. So Too Fast, Too Furious is the one that ages the worst by far. It is the one where the humor pretty much never lands, in my opinion. There's like some moments, but Roman can be annoying in all these movies, especially the later ones like F9, the Fate of the Furious. He gets really annoying at certain points. This one introduced us to him, so I'm not that big a fan of it, considering it introduced us to one of the most annoying characters in the franchise. Again, angering Film Kid because this is his favorite character. I am sorry. Believe me. I did not ask to have these opinions. I'm just the one getting them. So anyway, I find this film extremely boring at certain points. It's either slow or it has humor that ages pretty poorly, or it just has action scenes that are not very memorable. There's some, but they can be over the top at times. Like this is like the over the top movie in like the first 4. Meanwhile, the first one, the third one, and the fourth one are more grounded. So I think that this is a pretty bad film. I was nicer to it when I first watched it, but even then I was not that big a fan of it, and I only reluctantly gave it 3 out of 5. I think I now give it 2 out of 5. I did not like it, so I get it. Sorry about the little cut there again. So like I was saying, Too Fast, Too Furious. Mediocre, not good, in my opinion. Now we have the original, the one that started it all, The Fast and the Furious. Oh, this is a tough one. I'm between In the Race and Turned On the NOS, so I'll go Turned On the NOS, but it's going at the back. I am sorry, guys. Believe me, I think that it's a good movie, but some things it hasn't aged well. There's some effects that are not as good. There's some moments that are boring. So I find this one a bit boring in comparison to like these over the top action films that are just so awesome. So I just find it a bit more boring at times. So I enjoy it, but I think that there's others that outdo it. I think it was always a bit overrated in terms of people saying it's like the best in the franchise, no competition. I would say there are several better. There's four, no, there's five better in the franchise in my opinion. Fight me. I dare you. I know all of you are really angry. Film Kid, you in particular, I know, are furious at me right now. Just know, I'm not trying to do this. I was just born with these takes. Well, I mean, not born with them, I developed them. It's so hard to explain. And now we have the new dog in town, Fast X, one that a lot of people are not liking. Hmm. It'll go in the race, but it's going at the top. I prefer it over Fast and Furious 4. So, this one is one where, what is his name? He plays Aquaman. Jason Momoa. He is one of the reasons it's this high. He's awesome. He is so funny. I think that he's like such a entertainingly over the top villain, and he's just chewing up and eating every scene he's in. He's just chewing it up, and he is just so having so much fun. You could tell he's having fun, and it's awesome. Like that, he is so charismatic in that role, and I just absolutely love it. So I think that's a really good part of it. The ending's pretty bad. It's probably not as bad as Across the Spider Verse, because Across the Spider Verse's ending is terrible. This one at least comes to part of a conclusion where we at least know that someone comes back. So part of it's concluded, but very little. So I would still give the edge to Spider-Man Across the Spider Verse, even if that film was massively overrated. So I think that this film is fun. It's not as over the top as some of the others, but you can tell there's some things that are straining logic a lot. So I have fun with this one. I have fun with all of them except for the bottom two, Too Fast, Too Furious, and Tokyo Drift. I enjoy from F9 onward. I enjoy them. I know a lot of people don't care for F9. I had fun with it, but I would still put it and miss the start. So, anyway, that is my tier ranking for the Fast and Furious movies. And I know. New to this franchise, I have different opinions than you guys. So anyway, check out my Letterboxd page. You can also see my ranking of them there. So that'll always be fun. It's also always good to give some more followers on Letterboxd. So thank you all so much for watching. Tell me what I should do for another tier list soon, and have a good one.